Okay, now for the next paragraph, which would be paragraph three, one, two. Yeah, it'll be paragraph three, I think. Yeah, it'll actually be paragraph. No, it'll be paragraph two of the body. One, two, three. So actually paragraph three. This is really not paragraph two, is paragraph three. So in paragraph three, you're going to begin to talk about the differences. When you talk about the differences, you have to list one major difference that it was between Texas and between Mexico. Once you do that, then you are going to cite your textual evidence again, and then you're going to give an explanation behind it. So I'm going to show you. I already have mine written up, but I was writing it at first. So I'm going to show you what that next one will look like. So here's the next paragraph. I don't know if you can see it, and I don't know if I have to zoom. Y'all, I'm learning how to do this stuff, okay? So on here, it actually says, for my third paragraph, I have, however, there are major differences between the emotional tone of Texas and Mexico. Here, I've stated that there are differences already. So now I need to explain how those differences are. Texas feels heavy with grief and distance because it was a lot of grief. Dad wasn't there. It was a lot of distance there. Odelia describes her home as too quiet, too heavy, like something important was missing. That was all the way back in chapter 2. And if you see right here, I have cited where it was in chapter 2, showing that even the air feels full of emotional weight. In contrast, in contrast, meaning the difference, and Mexico becomes a land of healing and cultural rediscovery because they begin to know who they are, what their culture is like. When the girls meet La Llorona and Odelia receives the magical ear pendant, which was in chapter 4, make sure you cite it, their journey shifts from survival to spiritual transformation. Now that I say the difference of it, now I must explain why is that a difference. Texas reveals that the damage left by the past. Mexico helps them understand who they are and where they are from. The difference deepens the novel's message about power of reconnecting with one's roots. That is a very powerful theme that it wind up changing, and how the characters changed over the development of the novel, how things just wind up switching because all the girls began to change. That's my third paragraph. So then I got to write one more paragraph, which goes even deeper. So it takes a deeper contrast. Another difference or deeper contrast, the author's language and tone change between Texas to reflect the emotional contrast. Now we're going to explain how this became emotional and how it makes everything change. So when I go into that fourth page, is that the fourth or the fifth paragraph? One, two, three. The fourth paragraph. Even though the author's language changes between the two settings, reinforcing their emotional contrast, Texas is described as a flat, dry stretch of road under a colorless sky. That's in chapter 1, reflecting the dull, numbing pain the sisters feel at home. In Mexico, however, the setting becomes alive. Odelia says the mountains seem like ancient giants full of stories. That was in chapter 3. The magical imagery, this is what is being seen. That's what imagery means. Magical means it doesn't always have to be real. Brings a tone of wonder and myth. The word choices, and you don't have to add in RL 8.5 though, show that Mexico is not just a country, it's a place of spiritual growth, because that's how they felt it was once they finished. Through this shift in tone and language, the author highlights how deeply setting can influence a character's journey and emotional state. This is my fourth paragraph where I go deeper, which would be here on number 5. Then the last one will be our conclusion paragraph. That conclusion paragraph just reinstates what you said in the first paragraph, which is the theses in words, summarizes the main points, and final insight. Why does this comparison matter? So then my last paragraph, which is my conclusion paragraph, which is here, It says Texas and Mexico challenge the sisters in different ways, one through emotional weight, the other through cultural and spiritual awakening. While both settings demands maturity, only Mexico offers the tools for true transformation. The contrast between the dry pain of Texas and the rich healing of Mexico shows that where we are physically and emotionally can shape who we become. Some of the Mariposas reminds readers that sometimes we have to leave home to truly find it again. Will your words be exactly like this? No, your words will not be exactly like this, but you will sum up your chapter. As you notice, these paragraphs are not like 3 sentences. They're between 5 to 7 sentences for each one, making sure they're explaining and giving details of everything. Your goal for today, you should have your outline or your planning organizer. You should have your notebook, paper. You are starting to write your paper. Do you want to write on the back? It's up to you. I usually don't write on the back of my paper because it just keeps it a little bit neater, even though this one is gonna get torn up more. Your goal for today is to get your first draft written. That is what you're doing. You're using your organizer, you putting them in words and putting them on the paper. On today is Tuesday, so tomorrow you will be switching your papers. This paper part right here, you will be switching it with a partner, and you will be reading someone else's and giving them feedback on, could something be added? Did it sound great? Did they forget a part? Do they have all the components that they should on here or not? If you have any questions, I'll be back tomorrow morning. Make sure you have your first drafts complete because we're going into it. This is the last week of the quarter. We're going to finish it with a bang, and we're going to go into second quarter. All right. See y'all later. I love y'all.